This week, we've got one that isn't a horror, so, it's...
Well, we've done mostly horror, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
We try to keep a balance, but, horror's our thing.
Well, we did kind of, at the beginning of the, of this podcast, in a lot of episodes, put in a caveat that, a lot of B movies and indie movies are horror, so...
Well, that's true.
That's why a lot of the ones we cover happen to be horror. So it's always really nice when we get one that isn't.
Right.
It's unusual. And this was one that you found.
Yes.
For us.
Well, we mentioned it in the episode, but
right.
Gained a follower, checked him out. Ooh, followed him back because, wasn't one of the undesirables, the MAGA crowd. And, had some films. And, so this was the first one I looked at. I was like, oh, but then there were some others.
There were some others.
We went through and we landed on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was, great.
Well, I think this one's a really, really good example of the kinds of things and the kind of like raw honesty that you can portray when you're doing indie film that is really difficult to get when you are doing, when you're in the A.
Well, even B movies, right? Because a B movie, you still, you have no budget. You got like no cooperation. They just want something to fill a fucking screen in X number of theaters for a little while, right? To remain relevant. You still have to answer to studio heads.
Right.
And there's somebody who's up there who's just waiting with the big shit lever to just shit on your things. No, we can't do that. Even before that, someone might see the script you're going to do and they're like, But indie film, do your thing, man, which is a shame.
You can tell the like real stories that you want to tell.
Well, and this is an important one. The basis of, it's not like a story of someone.
Right. But
it is very relevant, even given its age.
Well, yeah, even today, because this is a 10-year-old film.
Right. Well, and it would have been relevant for situations 30 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the reality of just the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And when things go wrong for folks, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
on so many levels.
And really enjoyed talking about it.
Yes.
So.
All right, then.
Let's jump in.
Let's do it. Hey, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim.
And this is Danny.
I'm going to put a divider up.
No, I like seeing your face.
No, we'll do it. Well, you know what? We'll sit 6 feet from one another, and then we'll do this through Zoom. And I'll mute your camera until I'm done talking.
It's not going to happen.
Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. We have some fun stuff to talk about today. This week, this episode.
Is it fun? I don't know that this movie is fun.
Well, the story isn't fun, but there's a lot of stuff about it, the film.
Sure.
That is going to be fun to talk about.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And, well, a lot of stuff has gone on this week. Also not fun.
So as of the time of recording, this is the Sunday after the insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah.
The attempted coup.
That's not the stuff this podcast is about. But boy, howdy, if we had a podcast that talked about that stuff, this would be like a 17-parter, like 4 hours each episode.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
I think you can just sum it up with what the fuck, is where have we gone wrong that we've ended up where we are? Because there is nothing about anything going on from coast to coast in any of the non-mainland, contiguous 48 or all of our, imperial holdings in the Caribbean and wherever else nothing is good. You can try and point something out and I'll find the shit in it, because we're just at a point where it's just miserable. And this, while shockingly not surprising, given the last 4 years of,
Shockingly, not super shocking, honestly.
Yeah. All the fuckery that's been going on, this is like the logical culmination. So, by the time this comes out, so what would it be? Well, it'll be after Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
This is the last episode of January, even though right now it's January 10th that we're recording. We'll see what happens.
Sure will.
So fingers crossed, everything goes okay.
Yes.
Now, let's get past that bullshit, because that's a lifelong journey there. Let's see. So this week, the beginning of the week, the whole Tanya Roberts thing. So yeah, I was like everybody else, really confused, because we recorded last Sunday the episode, and then we got out and we're had our cigarette and we're sitting down on the couch looking at the news. Like, well, fuck, Tanya Roberts passed away.
Yeah,
well, that's a fucking shame. So I thought, you know what, we do the intro
after we record. Yeah,
the cold opens on Monday nights. So I thought, oh well, you know what, we can say something. And then Monday, throughout the day, I'm like, what is going on? She's not dead. She is dead. She's not. Her husband said she was. Now he's blaming it on the doctor. There's a lot of stuff there. And now she's dead. I think, officially. She did pass away. But here's my problem with that. If you were lying in a hospital bed on your last leg, I can't foresee any circumstance in the universe, the multiverse, not a single one, where I would mistake you for dead, leave. and then like fucking 9 hours later, the doctor calls, says, we know she's alive, right? What? First of all, if you think somebody you're holding is dead in the hospital, you get the doctor. You hit the buzzer. You scream down the hall. Right?
Yeah.
You don't just like, oh, well, there's that then. And then shuffle off to get some coffee and go home and mourn.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's a little harsh, but Jesus Christ, come on. Anyway, so Tanya Roberts, been around for a long time. Most people remember her as Mrs. Penciotti.
Yeah, from that 70s show.
Donna's, adorable mother, but it's one of those characters in those shows you just question how day to day.
Yeah.
Does this person survive? But anyway, also Bond Girl and Charlie's Angel and Sheena, and she was in Beastmaster. I mean, she's like 80 something credits.
Yeah.
She's been around.
Loads of stuff.
Yeah, and just always a lot of fun to watch. So it's another one. It's a shame. 65. That's not
old enough.
No, not these days. If this were 1940, you'd be like, whoa, pulled it out there. But our average lifespan has grown incredibly. So It's a shame. I say it's not COVID related. It's something else. But, it's a shame. So last episode, we said goodbye to Dawn Wells. And I think almost every other episode, we've been saying goodbye to somebody lately.
Yeah.
Been going. And honestly, there's many more. We probably just, if you don't know to look for it, you don't see it unless it hits like one of the 12 major news feeds.
Right.
So, there's probably going to find out more along the way.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. We're digging January. It's for
me, January is when I feel like I can start maybe the countdown to spring.
Yeah.
And I'm not a winter person. I don't know why I live in Wisconsin. It seems like a dumb thing for someone who hates winter. But every month or every year when it gets, end of January, I'm like, all right, a few more months.
Yeah.
Although in the past couple of years, it's been like another 5 months.
I know. Well, and the other thing too is January used to be where you'd be like, all right, I'm going to flush out all the shit from the last year. Right. And especially like from a creative perspective. And, it's all, psychologically, you purge yourself, forget resolutions and stuff. It's a new year. It's brand new. So we should be able to jump forward and really put things in perspective and tackle that script, tackle that film, tackle that composition, whatever it is, grab those set jobs. I'm going to get my fucking union card this year. I'm going to push. And even though the dread of winter is there, I think pushing through with that, I'm going to do the best me I can this year, better than last year. Right?
Yeah.
But last couple years, it's not felt that way. Like, fuck.
It's another year now.
I think mentally for a lot of folks, it's just been exhausting.
Well, the past year has been exhausting.
Well, this more so, but I think even just the last 4 years with Knucklehead up there,
Sure.
Yeah. Doing his shit in the Oval Office and getting his depends changed frequently. Everyone just gets tired. I mean, because I know we felt it.
Yeah.
We have felt last year the angst with COVID, everything else going on. It's like writing went away.
Right. And it's not that we weren't working on stuff, but the meat of what we love to do, right? This is how we define ourselves, right? As people, essentially as writers. And we have not been able to dig in like we really, really want to.
No. Well, like this last week.
Well, this last week we were like, let's pull this, this script that's unfinished.
Our sci-fi drama script.
Right, out.
Action drama. And, I was going to say and
crack on it. Yeah.
And we did. But the first thing we noticed was the last open date was over a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the reason we opened it up was so we could refamiliarize ourselves with all the shit that we had decided. Because, like every story, it goes through its thing. And then you make changes to it. And then you start writing the script and then you make some changes. But even before the script part, we had a basic story. We fleshed it out and then we rethought some things. So like, let's get caught up on the flow.
Right.
Right. You got to have all the little I's and T's, that whole thing, dots and crosses and, So
get out our little beat spreadsheet and our note cards and our notes and went through all of them. So this upcoming week is going to be writing week.
Well, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Till we hit fade out.
Well, yeah.
And then we read it and butcher it and do it again. That's life. That's the heartbeat. Okay. Well, so we're here to talk about a movie. Found this one. This individual who's behind this film followed us. And of course, I, look at who they are, because there was one who was we had one follower a couple weeks ago, like, oh, so-and-so followed you. And I looked and it's big MAGA thing. I'm like, oh, nope.
Yeah.
Not getting a follow back. In fact, block.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I try to keep up on that. So anyway, found out this person had some films out and we took a look, trailers, and chose this one.
Yeah.
And it's a bit older.
Yes.
Has done work since then. But that's kind of what it's about, want to reach out. And we didn't have the budget, so I reached out to this person and we got the budget number. Cool. And he's pretty keen on talking about stuff.
Cool.
So, we'll see if we can set one of those up down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us what we're getting into?
Well, I would love to. So this movie is called Uncle Brian. It was made in 2010, directed by Nick McAnulty. Written by Nick McAnulty, starring Lisa Ferretti, Tracy Genrich Mitchell, and Faring Gajar. It was not rated, typical for an indie movie.
Right.
They don't get ratings. The budget, as you found out, was about $10,000.
Right.
And the log line is a dark comedic tragedy about Brian, a teenager who blatantly disregards life's responsibilities and the humorous hazards and consequences that befall him for feeling that he is above them.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing over there?
I didn't put the name of it in the spreadsheet.
Oh.
No. I'm doing that. So.
Sure.
So this log line says that it's a dark comedic tragedy.
Yeah, I think we could start with that up front before jumping into the film.
Mm-hmm.
Did not find a lot of comedy.
There were a couple of moments.
Right.
But overall, I feel like this was a tragedy.
Yeah. And this isn't disparaging the film.
Oh, no.
Right. I just, the log line, if it was meant to be comedic, then I think it missed that mark. Maybe we just didn't get some of the comedy, which is always like a small chance of that happening. But I think the movie is good as it is.
Oh, it's excellent.
I don't think throwing in some Seinfeld stuff would have improved it.
No. So,
if the log line missed the mark, even better, because, it might confuse people when they're watching, like, where's the comedy? This was a pretty gritty film.
Yeah, very raw.
And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
At the end, that's one of driving factors. All right. So let's dive into Uncle Brian. All right. So right away, we open with two people going at it on a bed. Suddenly, we have someone yelling, "Jennifer!" And then the woman's dad comes in and is chasing the guy who was on top of her around in the bedroom. Dad leaves the room and comes back with a gun.
Yeah, pretty fucking serious.
And this is all in seconds.
Yeah.
By the time it took me to read that is about how long it took for it to play out on the screen. It's just like, wow. And then he smacks the guy, the young man, in the face with it, cracks his nose, at the top. And mom is flitting about hysterically. Yeah,
not really doing anything useful.
No. So you kind of get that dynamic, and that, not that we focus on it, but you get how that relationship is set up. So the guy runs out to his car half dressed. He's got blood running down his face. He's in the car. He laughs, starts the car, and takes off. And at this point, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make the jump and say that this guy's Brian. Because why would you focus on somebody who is not the star with that degree of intensity?
Right.
There we go. So then we get some credits. And then after the credits, we have Brian standing in the kitchen at home. His face is bandaged. His eyes are black. He's got raccoon eyes.
Right, from the nose break.
Yep. As anyone who has, and I'm raising my hand, had a nose break, or as many times as I have, it's intimately familiar. And I've got to say, very accurate makeup.
Yeah, it was really good.
Wonderful. Yeah, so black and blue all over there. And he's just not so casually drinking. I don't mean like hanging, taking a little sip, right?
No, he means it.
Yeah, he's glumping it down in glasses. And there's two women fighting or jointly complaining behind him. Wasn't
a little of both, yeah. I think.
And then he heads off to school. So those two women are his family.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, he stops at Mrs. Shields, and he's asking for Tim. And this is really another, wow, I get this guy. He's playing with the dog, as he's talking to her, and then she walks away, and then he punches the fucking dog.
Right.
I'm like, oh, all right.
You hear that?
Yep. All right. I get what Brian's about.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. And then Tim, his friend, comes to the door. As he and Tim walk to the car, we get a handful of who and what Brian is. I'm not going to go over the dialogue, but this was really awesome because it's a walk from the door to the car. And it's not like the soap opera walk where, it's 25 minutes of them slowly pacing down this long winding sidewalk. No, it's 30 seconds. The amount of things that are said.
Yeah.
And boom, 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 boom. And Brian is a giant piece of shit. There's no mistaking that. That is laid out. Forget punching the dog, right? Forget climbing off of a girl, getting hit in the face with her dad's gun, and then laughing about it in your car, and then drinking in front of your family in the kitchen when you're a high schooler. That's not enough. No, he does a pretty good job of setting up who he is beyond that, which is an enormous piece of shit. At school, we see him slipping booze into his soda bottle. And then he's staring at the G-string of a girl in front of him in class. Tests are being handed out. Teacher's not impressed with scores. Brian actually got 100%.
Right.
So he's a functioning alcoholic. And an asshole.
Yes.
And let's just talk about that for a second before we stream on. There's not a lot of movies that deal with addiction and alcoholism from the functioning standpoint.
Yeah, and a lot of them, the person is just falling apart all over the place.
Yeah, barely hanging on, and then we're there for the descent.
Yeah.
Right, as shit just starts falling apart. I know this because I had an uncle who was a functioning alcoholic. He was worked with precision tools. He was like one of, I think it was less than 150 people in the Midwest who could do this kind of work. And he did it drunk every day. And he was one of those people that when he tried to dry up, everything fell apart. It was the reverse. He couldn't do the work. And, back then, you don't have time to I'll be back in 8 months once I get my shit together and learn to function on this new plateau. It's like, well, you're going to lose your job. So, he started drinking again, which isn't an excuse.
No.
But I'm saying I loved that this was a unique perspective of, okay, so this guy's just doing all of his shit, but he functions that way,
Well, I mean, yeah, at least on a technical level, right?
Well, I mean, he's able to do, that kind of thing. I mean, usually in other films, those characters that are getting D's and F's on their tests, because that's the reality. Most people, when they start down that path, shit falls apart.
Right.
Right. But I loved that because this is what got me excited about the film even more. Now that we're in it and I get this little framing quick, we're going to see how difficult it is to address somebody who has a drinking problem, right? But you don't have the usual bag of tricks to throw at them. Your grades are going down, your work is going down.
Right.
You can't do this. You're pissing your pants, you're waking up in your own shit and all that. No.
Right.
He's just a giant dick, right? And that's hard to work with, to get someone to understand they have a problem, especially when they're suffering from a borderline, mental illness of not being able to connect with people at that level. Anyway, so there's a kid sitting next to him who is apparently on probation and is failing class, but has to keep a full load of classes as part of his probation. So this kid is Paul. He's caught by the teacher talking to Brian, and he gets called out. And teacher's like, so why don't you solve this problem, Mr. Smarty Pants? And then Brian says, no one can solve the problem. And he points out that there's an error in the formula.
Right.
When the teacher wrote it down, the teacher takes a second. He's like, oh,
good catch.
Yep. Good catch. And then he just leaves it alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we're in the hall of the school, and there's a kid who seems to have an atypical neural issue of some kind.
Right.
And he's having a little bit of an episode.
Yeah.
And he drops a piece of paper on the floor. And Brian comes up and he's kind of like helping the kid and stuff. And without anyone noticing, Brian kind of slips the money out of this envelope that the kid dropped on the floor and pockets the money.
Yeah.
Gives the envelope back to the kid. And there's a girl who's aiding this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he impresses the girl with his generosity. Like, oh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah, because everyone else is just walking by.
Right.
You know.
So then the girl that he was in bed with at the beginning of the film walks by. And he's like, oh, hey. And she doesn't want anything to do with him. Right?
Right.
She says, don't touch me. You know, she's a bitch.
Yeah.
And walks away. And he's a little confused by it. And then I think it's her brother.
Yeah, it's her brother.
Comes up and tries to rough him up. And Tim, like, gets between them. And here's the thing. So he's lanky. He's not a real muscular dude. Right. But Tim, the friend, comes in and he's just like, you know. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's not Arnold
Schwarzenegger,
but he is buff
mm-hmm.
and he's athletic. He's a sport. He's the jock.
Yeah.
Right?
So he kind of comes in and rescues Brian from this angry brother.
Yeah.
So Brian and Tim end up leaving. And then we see Brian on his own and he's knocking on Miss Shields' door again. So this is where Tim lives.
Yeah.
But it's Tim's mom coming to the door and then they're in bed together.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay. They're talking a little bit and it kind of seems like he goes to her with some issues.
Maybe.
Like he kind of maybe uses her as a therapist a little bit ish.
Sort of.
In a weird way.
Yeah. That whole dynamic, I think,
it's pretty fucked up.
A room full of psychologists could work on this for days before they came up with if they came up with what is this going on with them? Because it's really, it's
weird.
Yeah.
And she asks about his flask that he carries around. And she asks him why it says Gord on it. And he makes the comment that it's all that Gord left him. And then he's pissy and he leaves.
Yeah.
So then we're at the math friend's house. And I hadn't caught his name by this time, but it's Paul.
Yeah.
So they're at Paul's and they're just like chilling in the basement. They're mixing drinks up. Paul's got a bong, you know, he's smoking. And one of the things that Brian is over there for is to help Paul do his work.
Yeah, homework.
And it's essentially Brian doing the work for him.
Yeah. While Paul supplies him with liquor and weed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they talk and their conversation here is a little funny.
Well, it is up until the end.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't want to, give it away because it's amusing, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not discuss that topic, folks. You should watch to see that because
well, it's Brian fucking with him.
It is, but it's also a masterclass moment of how to show how manipulative a character can be.
Oh yeah.
Because it's all fun and games till someone gets shot in the eye, right?
Yeah.
Or someone gets an eye out. Well, it's all fun and games until Brian's had enough.
Well, and
then it gets fucking hard.
So yeah, and Brian's kind of gaslighting this guy a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
And then the guy gets angry about it, and then Brian is, done with the conversation.
Well, he slams him.
Yeah.
He gets out of him what he wants, and then drops the bomb, and then it's just he's done.
Yeah.
So
Brian leaves. He's completely drunk by this point. So he's drunk before he even gets in his car, and then he's driving and drinking as he's driving. And he gets pulled over just as he drops his flask. And then, next thing we're watching him get mugshots. He's in a jail cell. Not a good night for Brian.
No.
So we see the next day, Mom is driving him back. She stops the car, and I thought this was kind of interesting because she stops it. They're not at home.
Right.
She stops it, and he jumps out to throw up.
Yeah.
So as he gets home, and Mom doesn't come in with him.
No.
He gets home, and his sister is looking at a pregnancy test on the table.
Yeah.
And, so she's pregnant. And then Mom comes in and she's like, oh, fuck, great.
Yeah.
And Brian's reaction is he's just looking at her, and he's looking at the table, and he's looking at the pregnancy test, and he's like, is there pee on that thing?
Right. That's what he got out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
that she put something she peed on the table.
Yeah.
And then he just goes to collapse in bed.
Yep.
So, he's not getting more endearing, right?
No.
As this movie goes on.
No. This isn't like the movie Arthur.
No.
We are not endearing ourselves to the movie Drunk. Mm-hmm. He is not Dudley Moore. He is not going to do anything.
Right.
You could just tell, this is, how long are we into this movie? We're like, God damn. There must be like a dump truck full of asshole
right
left to go on us, because you just feel it. It's like, this isn't it. There's more.
Oh, yeah. So we go he's at Tim's house, and Tim is wondering where he's been because Brian usually picks Tim up for school in the morning.
Right.
Right. And he wasn't there. So Tim's like, where have you been? And Brian doesn't really go into the whole, I was arrested. He just says that he's going to be an uncle.
Well, as I walk on, I was like, where's your car? And he's just like, the cops took it.
Right.
And then, yeah, I'm going to be an uncle.
Okay. So then we're back in school in math class, and Paul, math friend, as I called him affectionately for most of the movie, got excellent grades on his test.
Yeah.
Right? Or on his assignment. And class is interrupted by the police. So the teacher goes out in the hall to talk to them for a minute. And Paul and Brian are wondering what they want. Brian's giving Paul a little shit like, oh, maybe they're here for the stash in your bag, that kind of thing. And yeah. Paul's like, oh, you think so?
Yeah, well, they certainly wouldn't be here for that stash in your bag.
And then Teach comes back in and asks for Brian.
Take my glasses off.
Okay.
One of those days. It's at that weird distance.
Sure.
Make a little adjustment here. Okay. So now Brian is sitting at a desk. It seems like Brian is now being accused of rape. And Jennifer's dad is pressing charges. For someone who is in a ton of trouble, Brian is a real dick in this scene. I mean, just not registering the level of, fuckitude that is about to descend upon him.
Right.
With those charges.
Well, and I thought that this was a really, really interesting scene because up until this point in the movie, we did not have any reason to root for Brian in anything.
Right.
Right. And now this has happened and, we were there.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's not what happened.
No.
And even as shitty as Brian is.
Right.
Right? It's not okay for that to happen. To anyone.
No. I have a lot to say about that circumstance. I have a lot to say about that kind of bullshit, but another time, another place. But yeah, initially I thought, statutory rape. Right. But here's the thing. For the longest time, we don't get the sense of what his age is.
Right.
Is he 18 and a senior? Is he 17? You know, what's the deal? We also don't know, you know, where it's taking place. What's the scoop there? Because every state it's different. But after a few exchanges, the guy behind the desk is letting us know that no. This is like full on violent sexual assault.
Right.
And that's when I'm like, that's not what we saw. This is, all right. So this guy's a giant sphincter, you know, fucking, you just don't want him anywhere near you. However, like you said, not an excuse to accept or condone that kind of false accusation.
Right.
Because that is a life ruining.
I mean, Brian certainly, you know, deserves whatever it is that's coming to him for the things that he has done.
Right.
But he has not done this thing.
No, and people who do things like that, they don't deserve the things that aren't related to the things they've actually done.
Right.
Everyone deserves the consequences of the things that they do. No matter how bad someone is, they don't deserve some other random shit happening to them.
Right.
Right. So that's just my thing. Everyone is responsible for their stuff, and no one should have shit laid on them, you know? All right. So later, he's in a cell. An officer comes in and says that the charges have been dropped. Now, Brian's sister is driving him home from the station. She tells him that mom's at work, so she had to go get him. Not sure what her story is, but she seems to be a bit more in order and more of a decent person than he is. Yeah. Right? So it's not a case where everyone in the family is fucked up because of a circumstance and because of, you know, generational things. You know, alcoholism breeds alcoholism, and violence breeds violence. And in a lot of these films, we see mom and dad are, you know, hitting each other, throwing shit, beating on the kids. So naturally the kids are drinking and hitting each other and, you know, hitting other kids. And, you know, it gets passed on. She seems like, you know, she's a pretty nice woman.
Well, yeah, she seems like a good person. I mean, we know she's made a mistake, right?
Right. Yeah, this wasn't a planned pregnancy.
Right. And she's dealing with the consequences of that.
Yeah, but she's taking it in stride.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Yeah, I was thinking early on, well, you know, I mean, I'd like to pull for her. Seems like the easy way. Because I can get behind her, you know. God, you can do it. You can do it. This is going to be tough. But you know what? Yeah. Find her, get her support system and all this stuff. Nope, not what the movie's about. So let's move on to Brian. So the next morning, Brian is picking up Tim, but Tim has already left.
Yeah.
Then we're at school, and everyone is looking at him as he's walking. So I'm pretty sure at this point the accusation got around school.
Oh, of course it did.
You know, well, that was my first jump, and then I thought, Jesus, I hope so, because I hate to think we're going to introduce something else he didn't do. Right? So Brian finds Tim, and Tim is just like so dismissive. Clearly, he's heard this information as well. Everyone is just like back to him, you know, and he already had a not great relationship with his fellow students. This is the beginning of the rock bottom, you know, the well-known home to every addict. And you know, the pinnacle of that is fastly approaching. We see that this is the ridge of the final plummet into that rock bottom. You're like, damn. So later, he's in Paul's basement again, and they're talking about the rape rumor. Paul asks him straight up if he did it. And, you know, Brian's like, fuck yeah. He's like, hey, man, I'm just giving you the benefit of being asked.
Right.
Right. So Paul clearly has some other things going on for a young man in high school.
Right.
You know, he's dealing drugs. He's doing drugs. But he doesn't seem to be at the level that Brian is for social misadventure and, dickery
Right.
and stuff. And I liked, I thought that was a very good line. That was very intuitive to have written that, giving you the benefit of being asked.
Yeah.
Right. Also tells him Tim has a right to be pissed at him. Says if it bothers, he tells Brian, if it bothers you, you just need to say fuck him and everyone else. So now we got Paul's there's the character fully laid out to us, right? He does his thing. High school kids shouldn't be out peddling drugs.
Right.
But, almost all of us in high school were drinking or smoking something. And, if you didn't, fine, shut the fuck up. But fact is, majority were.
Well, and
right. And it's kind of a thing, but he identifies it and he just kind of like rolls with it because it's not just the way he talked. It doesn't identify him and he doesn't see himself like that.
Right. They're things he does, not who he is.
Right.
And when watching movies like this, where they kind of deal with this very real, right, awful stuff that goes on, you kind of have to grade the people in the movie on a bit of a curve.
Yes.
I mean, we all went through high school. Nobody's perfect. Everyone's done stuff that, they knew they shouldn't have done, even in the moment, probably knew they shouldn't have done.
Right. Well, and I think for most normal people, high school is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
No matter how good it is, it's still a nightmare.
You couldn't pay me enough to go back.
It's a bunch of complicated shit that teaches you nothing about the real world. And the minute you leave high school, that shit never happens again. Unless you go to like a teeny tiny private college and kind of relive that shit for 4 more years. But let's be honest, clicks, all this and that. No, none of that translated to the real world. That's a whole different deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, pass one to the next. The only thing it does teach you is fuck it. If you're smart enough to pick it up, which most of us aren't, like Paul said, fuck him. If Tim is not with you, then fuck him. Because you need people who are with you. Now, if you're constantly doing bad shit, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can be pissed at it. You can say fuck him, but you should stop doing the bad shit. But for the most part in life, we've talked about it, especially in the creative life. If you aren't surrounded by people who are supporting you, who are encouraging you, who are not, disparaging you for not having that script ready, by the end of the year, for not making a script sale because you were lucky enough to get a fucking phone conversation with somebody about it, a producer or even a manager or something. If people aren't like, holding you up, like, next time, man, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. That's not your manager. That's not your producer. That he wasn't meant for you. Fuck it. Right? Those are the people you need. If you have people who are saying, oh, well, see, I told you, man, it's like almost impossible to get in. So, why don't you just give that shit up and like do a real job or, focus yourself. Nope. Flush those people away.
Well, yeah.
Clear it.
And here's the thing. Here's the biggest difference here is, they're talking about it. Paul asked Brian, did you do it?
Yeah.
Tim won't even talk to him.
Right. And that's the thing. So in the beginning, Tim is this upstanding, he's the jock, right? He's pretty clean cut other than, his best friend's fucking his mother, which he doesn't know about. He's kind of got his focus and stuff. And, we see him as kind of just like a, normal white bread athletic type.
Right.
Not real, daring or chancy in life. Just hey now. But he's he's just like the straight guy. But you also think, well, this would be the logical guy, right? Wrong.
Mm-mm.
We got Paul. Paul just kind of puts it out there and you admire Paul.
Yeah.
Right. You think, well, he's a kid. He's not, peddling crack cocaine to kids. right?
Right. He's selling weed.
Yeah. Elementary children. Yeah. He's, taking dope to school and selling a few joints and smoking a few bong hits at home, Okay. Maybe
there's worse people in the world.
Well, there's way worse people in the world. And it's becoming legal across the country slowly, but let's face it. What the fuck? Big deal.
Yeah.
Right. He just established he's got a really good fucking head on life. He just sucks at math. So anyway, after Paul's, Brian gets home and we see his sister sleeping on the couch when he stumbles in. And this was like jolting seeing this. It's actually a very soft, quiet scene. He simply covers her up, shuts off the television, and turns out the light. And that was so hard to process after seeing this sociopathic rampage that he's been on. Right?
Yeah. It's weird that the tenderness, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, it spoke of maybe she is his rock. Because we all do that. Sometimes we pick somebody who's our rock. They have no clue.
Right.
Right. We just pick somebody in our life who's like, all right, this person's got their shit together, man. I'm going to just like hang on to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue being my own shitty self.
Well, as long as this person has their shit together, then the world is okay in some sense.
Yes. And maybe by osmosis, my shit will be together, even though I don't make any changes. Right. But anyway, but I thought that was really cool. That
I like
just that little quick level. So the next morning, Brian's at Tim's. Tim isn't there. Mrs. Shields invites him in for a drink. And my thought was, what the fuck?
Right.
Just from the sense of, I know this kind of shit happens. And let's forget the mom's best friend's mom thing. Let's just forget that dynamic. But the dynamic that there are people who know person A knows that their friend or whatever, person B, has an issue, an addiction, right? Rather than confront them or distract them or, try everything they can to not participate, they actively encourage it. So right away at that point, not that she didn't have a few ticks against her for her previous actions, but Mrs. Shields jumped on the big pile of shit column for me.
Yeah.
Right there.
So then we're at school and the girl who cried rape is talking to Tim, asking him where Brian is. And Tim just turns to her and unleashes this fucking tirade. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because, we at this point are like, okay, well, Tim's not cool with Brian for the whole rape accusation thing. But to see him turn on this girl and just like verbally unload on her.
Yeah.
Is kind of shocking. Right?
It was unexpected.
Yeah. And you're kind of left wondering, what the fuck is this guy's deal? Right? So after he tells her to fuck off, we're back with Brian and Tim's mom. And she's asking Brian what's bugging him. And I thought that was so weird.
I know.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure you know.
Yeah.
But fine. And so he asks why Tim has been avoiding him and whether Tim thinks that he did it. And she's real cagey about it.
Yeah. Right?
She doesn't deny it, but she's like, I know you didn't do it. Well, that doesn't, that's not really helpful, but thanks.
Right. Yeah.
And
whatever, man.
Right. And at this point, he is really mad. Right. So he keeps trying to get her to say the word.
Right.
Right. And I think that that's really interesting because even now, and I really liked that they put that in here. Even now, people don't like to say the word rape.
Right. It's falls into the realm of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And a lot of comedians have made, in fact, in films about, young lives of people in the like 20s and 30s and stuff. And all the way up till, well, she probably even still today, cancer.
Right.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. I heard his mom was sick. I think she has cancer. You whisper it. You don't say it out loud.
Well, because if you say it out loud, then it's a real thing.
Yeah. It's like,
right.
screaming Beetlejuice 3 times or something.
Bloody
it's
Mary.
Like, yeah. Then we'll all get it.
Right.
Like
the word itself is contagious somehow.
Yeah. And it's there are a lot of other words out there we shouldn't be saying. Right. But they're out there. And we've talked a little bit about how there's a lot of words that we should take full control of and turn them into something mundane.
Mm-hmm.
Take the steam out of them. That's really the only way to ever get past that stuff. It takes a long, long time. But there's a lot of words that like rape. People don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Like it's beyond dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he starts antagonizing her about it, and he says rape over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, one of those conversations.
Right.
Just inundates her.
Like, just fucking say it, And clearly what's happening is he's venting out his anger onto this woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the idea that, you just got done fucking someone and then now you're talking about her son who's your best friend and what's his deal.
Right.
I'm thinking, you know what? Nothing out of this conversation is going to come out good anyway.
No.
So how about you just go? Let it go, man. Just leave.
Yeah. Well, she ultimately gets sick of it, slaps him, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
So back at school, Brian is trying to connect with Tim again. And then Tim walks away. Doesn't want anything to do with him. So Brian just sits down in the hallway, in the middle of the hallway, like against a locker.
Yep. And
starts to drink.
Yeah, gets his flask out.
Yeah.
Does his thing.
And just as he does this, the brother comes up and starts beating the shit out of him.
Yep.
And then he steps back and he offers Brian one free shot.
Yeah.
And this guy has his girlfriend with him this time, which I think is pretty fucked up.
Well,
you bring your girlfriend to watch you beat up some guy.
Oh, I went to way larger high schools than you did.
I went to little bumfuck nowhere high school.
Yeah, well, I went to one of those, but for the most part, very big high school. And not unusual.
Right.
Right. This is how it happens. People would bring their, anyway.
So Brian takes his shot and it ends up hitting the girlfriend.
Yes.
Who's just standing there, and immediately her face just starts gushing blood.
Oh, man.
Which is awesome.
It's like somebody turned the blood hose on and walked away from the lever because Jesus Christ.
Well, so this is an indie movie, and it isn't, and she was being a bitch to him too, but what's really interesting is this isn't a movie that focuses heavily on special effects or makeup or anything. That's not really the kind of, the point of the film.
Right.
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 But when it's there, man, they're really, really good.
Yeah. At this point, I just want to mention Brian. I'm just going to say it ahead of time because one of us will.
The continuity of his healing nose.
Well, it's pretty much the same throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we get to some quick time jumps, but it's not till the very end that all that shit's gone from his face. Because as we know, that stuff stays a long time. Broken nose markings. Yeah. It's not like 4 or 5 days. And then, you can go out into the world.
No, it's a couple weeks.
Oh, it's a long time. And then if you've got it packed, it's even longer, but, super magnificent jobs. And again, it's one of those things you think, well, that's just simple makeup. It's just a little thing, but it isn't. It isn't. It looks authentic. It's consistent. The continuity is brilliant. And like you said, when these moments show up for this kind of thing, it's a home run.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't comical like, one of the Japanese horror films, the Bloodfest films,
like the toilet zombies
or Machine Gun Girl and stuff. Yeah. Where it's just like, you could tell there's like 400 PSI in that hose, man. What are they thinking? It's a substantial amount of blood, which is kind of satisfying a little bit. I'll admit. Like, yeah, you know, that's what happens when you're a bitch. Not that I'm rooting for Brian in this case, but still, you know, yeah, it was good.
Well, I find myself kind of rooting for Brian because, like, what he's getting punished for so far is the wrong thing to be punished for.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
I would like to see him have, you know, an intervention where people like pile on him about his assholishness and his drinking and his fucked upness.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's where I started. That's how I was pulling for him. And by this point, I'm thinking, so, okay, where's the moment, right? Come on, get in there, Archangel Gabriel or whoever's going to show up in whatever form and show him the light. Show him this is the way you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But also I was thinking too, during this, it was at this point, I had been thinking a little bit in the film, but it kind of hit me. And I didn't put it in my notes, but I almost felt like, you know, he shouldn't be suffering from shit that he didn't do. But I wonder if the director wanted us to see him suffer for this because he wasn't suffering for all the other stuff. Do you know what I mean? We've seen a lot of those in plot lines where, well, he didn't do that. Yeah, but he was such a fucking miserable piece of shit. At least he's getting punished, you know? And I think of that like from an audience perspective and, you know, from an engagement perspective. I think that's human nature. I was like, well, yeah, I need, you know, it's not right that he's getting away scot-free with all this other shit. So yeah, fucking let him, even though that's not anything he did, punish him. Punishment's punishment. Right. And I disagree with that.
Well, you know, I do too.
In a real life moral standpoint, people should be punished for the things that they do. I don't care what they didn't get punished for. That's not an excuse to just drum some shit up so they can get punished. It seems self-defeating, if not immensely wrong. You know?
Yeah. So anyway. So Brian is now talking to the guy he was talking to earlier. And I initially thought this was the principal because I just wasn't sure who this person was supposed to be.
Right. The guy behind the desk wasn't super clear.
Right.
Maybe we both missed it. I don't think we did because it happened real quick and we were eyeing it up.
Yeah.
I know neither of us were typing at the time.
I think you're right. And he's a juvenile.
A juvenile officer.
Right.
Right.
A juvenile offense counselor or something like that.
Yeah, or liaison.
Yeah. So he's talking to this guy. And this guy's talking to him about his alcohol problem. I mean, this is after Brian has punched this girl, right?
Oh, yeah, because now he's brought some more shit down on him.
Right. So I was watching this conversation. And I know that it was an important conversation, you know, for Brian's story. I'm aware of that in my heart. And I did get the point that this guy is like, he's been through this with a bunch of fuck up kids before, and he's just got no nonsense, right, attitude about it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. At this point in the movie, I did not know what this guy was chewing on, but his mouth sounds were killing me. And I mean, they're supposed to, right? Because he's sitting there and he's chewing on this thing and he's like.
Well, it was his orange bits.
Well, I learned that later. That's in my notes. I didn't know what it was at the time here.
I didn't read all of it
through.
Well, I'm reading as we go.
You know, I mashed the notes, but maybe you should read them before we record.
I didn't have time today of all days. I mean, we took 20 minutes of chill.
I know.
And then we had to jump up and get all the shit going. I had to get all this ready. And
well, let's leave out that we woke up at noon today.
Sure. I'll edit that out.
So the deal is, Brian is making a plea bargain for these new charges and going to AA. So Brian, when considering this deal, is weighing the time that he'll have to commit to AA versus the time that he would have to commit to a prison sentence.
Right. I was like, oh man, I thought we had Brian established,
Right.
pretty good, but kudos, sir, for writing this bit in, because bam, whole new level of dickery.
Yeah.
What? Really? I could make myself better, or I could just go to jail.
How long is each one of these going to take?
Fuck me. What a douche.
So he clearly ends up choosing AA, because next thing we see, we're at a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a girl talking about her experiences. And Brian just right away, he's clearly, his posture, his body language and everything, like he's clearly not into this.
Not engaged.
Right. So he interrupts her with bullshit. And then he has an outburst.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of does another verbal vomit unloading.
Yeah. A diuretic diatribe.
Yeah. And leaves the meeting. Gets home, pulls out a bottle. So in the morning, he's at the table. He's got his liquor for breakfast. And his sister is sitting there eating breakfast. And Brian asks her if she's going to keep it. And she's like, keep what? Obviously, she's going to keep it. And he starts needling her about it.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to poke holes in her peace of mind.
Right.
That's what I got out of this.
Yeah. And let's just leave it vague.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good scene to see.
Yeah.
So again, folks, watch the show, watch the movie.
But she's not having it. Like, she's not letting him do it.
She doesn't get baited.
No.
And I thought that helped me reaffirm my earlier thing about her being like his rock, because people will do that too. The one thing, one person they depend on, they will just fucking assail them. Like they're trying to, fucking scale El Capitan.
Right.
Right. But El Capitan's just like, get down, bitch, get down, bitch, get down, bitch. And that's it. Dispassionately, like she doesn't get riled. She doesn't play his game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just.
It's really interesting. And the dialogue is really good. So then we see Brian outside of Tim's house, and he's about to knock on the door and decides not to, just leaves.
Yep.
So then we're back with the counselor guy, orange guy, who's asking him about the incident at AA. And this is where I'm like, oh, it's an orange. That's what he makes his mouth sounds with.
Yeah.
Because he's still doing it. Mouth sounds.
Yeah.
And I don't have it's not a full blown psychological issue with mouth sounds. Okay. I'm not a weirdo. I swear I'm not a weirdo. It's just some people in particular.
There are certain things that I know are going to set you off.
Really?
As I hear them. and yeah, that's why I try not to do them. Number one. Number two. So like when Lily gets into the gum chomping, I mean, you've talked about it, but I know exactly what's happening. And in my head is like, oh, fuck, 3, 2, 1. And then here comes this, bam, it happens, followed by this, bam, it happens, followed by this, bam, it happens. And it's like,
So I have a thing.
You do have a thing, but I think we all have a thing with certain, I mean, it's not like, a fixed definition thing. There's certain things that I know will get to you. There's certain things that get to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I know. There's certain things that get to you.
And it happens with me. There are certain things, it's quick and it's brutal.
Yeah. Your fuse is short. it's
not even a fuse. I'm just automatically reacting, when it happens. And it's, I know, because I hear myself saying it because I know how much I hate what's going on. Not enough to not say anything because something needs to be said to put an end to it. But I know for the most part, my outbursts are, God damn it, will you stop? Or for fuck's sake, stop it. Jesus Christ. But I think we all have those things. There's those little, Lily doesn't like it,
Oh, no, she hates that.
When I wrap my fingers like that, and, being a percussionist, I occasionally like to, when I'm sitting
She
thinking,
hates tapping.
I've tried to stop doing it, but I know there was one point when I would be thinking about stuff. I'd be, remember the clicking sound?
Yeah.
Well, I know it drives her up the fucking wall. So over the years, I've, tried to do other things besides clicking while I'm in deep thought. Now I just sort of sit and look somber.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't have a thing, but you have limits.
She called me out the other day. We were doing something. I can't remember what it was, but I was tapping my mouth with my finger, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we always get on her about, because she can't keep her fingers away from her mouth for some reason.
She's biting her nails and chewing on her. It's just
playing with her lip.
Yeah, stop it.
That's her thing. She plays with her mouth. I don't know. But so I'm tapping my mouth with my finger, and she was like, if I can't have my fingers near my mouth, neither can you.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, parents, don't you just love this age? Well, if I can't do it, neither can you. Hold on, child. Let me explain how life goes.
Well, I mean, for that moment, I thought it was fair. I was like, all right, and I know she doesn't like the tapping.
Yeah.
So,
can you stop? I'm like, whoa. I think your reaction to this particular situation is a little more elevated than is necessary, and that pisses her off even more. Which is kind of why I say it, because I'm kind of a dick of a dad. I like to rile her sometimes. Okay.
Anyway.
So let's get to Brian and Paul, who are boosting booze at the liquor store. Paul says Jennifer was and that's the girl who accused
Pride
him
rape.
Well, her dad did, and she went with it, and then somehow it all stopped. So Paul says Jennifer was asking about Brian. He didn't have much to say about it. Then Paul talks about homework, which is now their code word for getting fucked up in his basement.
Yes.
So he wants Brian to come to his basement and he's
do homework.
And feed Brian all kinds of booze and drugs. Brian says he has a meeting. And then Paul says he needs to get back to class. So they're boosting liquor during the school day.
Right.
Champions.
As Brian is saying, he's got an AA meeting.
Yeah. And then Brian is choosing to keep boosting liquor after Paul leaves.
Right.
So he's still, filling his pockets and stuff. At school, Tim is in the bathroom taking a piss. Paul saunters in and starts to talk to him. He says Brian has been asking questions about him, wondering if he's all right. And Tim starts in on Paul, who then sends, it just like lays into him. And then Paul tells Tim that Brian is fucking his mother.
No, Tim says that he knows Brian is fucking his mother.
Oh,
and that's
right.
why he's all pissy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I worded that differently than I should have. So yeah, he knows. And it's just this whole thing.
Right. So it's not about the rape thing.
Well, then we cut. Yeah, right. We cut from there to the AA meeting. Brian is just sitting there. As he leaves, Jennifer is outside waiting for him. Seems she called his house and his mother told her where he was. And Brian's not terribly keen on that because it's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Right? You don't just tell people someone's in a meeting. You don't. That's the next thing below calling someone out or outing someone.
Right.
Right? Who hasn't come out yet. It's their business. Well, they're doing AA. You aren't allowed to discuss anything about that. Shouldn't be. We know people do. But I thought that was another nice little line. Well, so much for the anonymous part.
Yeah.
So it seems Jennifer said she was raped because her parents needed some kind of explanation for what she and Brian were doing. I still haven't registered that bit. all I could think of was this fucking girl is as dumb as a plate of oatmeal. That made no fucking sense.
There are,
and
I'm not excusing it because there's no excuse for it.
I know.
But there are, people who grow up in households where it is unacceptable to admit that you fucked up.
Well, that, and it's unacceptable to be fucking.
Well, yeah.
And then this is like both of those households in one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. So at this point I was wondering, is this going to turn into a horror film? Because there's the one I want to see butchered right there. It didn't. And she wasn't. Spoilers. There's just no reconciling for something like that.
There isn't.
There isn't. She could have come up with any fucking explanation.
There isn't. But
it wouldn't have.
Yeah. I do admire the depth of the characters on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People aren't one dimensional. There's always a million facets, right? To every person. You know, regardless of whether they're a piece of shit or not.
Right.
They're not just a piece of shit. They're also like 60 other things.
Well, yeah. And this is like an ensemble piece, right? We have like every social pariah fuck up thing happening here. Each person represents one of these things that's going on in society, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to school, I mean, usually all this shit could be going on, right? Or if you're in a workplace or whatever, a lot of shit can be going on. Rarely, though, is it in such a tight group where every person in that group is one of these, pinnacle fucking terrible things about life.
Right.
But at this point I was just I have felt so many things so far watching this. Yeah. I'm in my head, I'm applauding. I'm like, you know what? Fucking A, man. This is all the reprehensible shit that we don't want to deal with. We don't want to deal with the fact that somebody could be a terrible fucking human being to other people, be a raging alcoholic, because that's mostly what it was. The drug use was just with Paul.
Right.
And he wasn't like blazing up all the time, but he was a heavy drinker. But that he could go through the day without, screwing shit up, unless he goes like binge drinking, which he did at Paul's the one night where he got pulled over. And even then, he only got pulled over because he was at a stop, dropped his flask, was trying to find it, pick it up.
Yeah.
Because he didn't go through it. Whoop, whoop. There was a cop behind him. And when you don't go, when your light turns or after you've stopped at a stop sign, they're going to want to know why.
Well, yeah.
So that's kind of weird. Anyway, strangely enough, Brian ends up accepting a ride from her from the meeting.
Right.
In the car, she says she thinks it's cool he's taking responsibility for his actions. He doesn't see it that way. Says he's being forced to do it. The AA meeting. He doesn't even pay attention in the meetings, he says. Still a class A fucking mound of shit. And as he gets out, she kisses him. Then he's at Paul's. Knox asks if he's around, and then we cut to the hospital. Paul is pretty beat up. Tim beat the living shit out of him. Paul's pissed at Brian for ending up in the hospital for the stupid shit Brian did.
Rightfully so.
Right. Brian says he's sorry. Paul jumps on his shit saying he doesn't know what sorry is. And I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So then we're at Tim's. So Brian has gone to Tim's to be like, why the fuck did you beat up Paul?
Yeah.
Right. The mom answers the door and she's got a dude over. And Brian has the nerve to ask who the guy is.
I know. Wow.
And she says she doesn't owe him any explanation. I mean, there's so many issues, but
long and short, she's right.
Well, yeah.
She doesn't owe any explanation.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's not get into the cornucopia of problems.
So Brian goes downstairs to talk to Tim. And he starts out, why did you beat up Paul? And Tim says Paul was hitting on him. And Brian's like, I don't think so. Pretty sure he wasn't. Maybe you were mistaking things. And so they talk a little bit, and eventually it comes out that Tim knows about Brian fucking his mom. And
Yeah.
Brian is speechless.
Right.
Right? Oh, that's why. Right?
Yeah.
So they start arguing. Tim knocks Brian down and then immediately is like, do you want a drink? Helps him back up.
Yeah.
And we learn that Tim has been suspended from school and lost his place on the squad.
And I thought it was like an ROTC squad because he mentions about not being able to enlist.
Oh, okay.
So it seemed like he was
maybe a ROTC thing.
Yeah.
So as they're talking, it comes out that, Tim, and we've seen a little bit of this prior to this, and obviously with Paul, Tim's completely homophobic.
Yeah.
Right? He starts asking Brian, why? Like, why are you fucking my mother? He's also jealous of Brian's relationship with Paul. He starts talking about Brian's drinking problem, about Jen, the girl who cried rape.
Yeah.
And he asks Brian if he has feelings for her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Brian's like, I don't know. It's complicated, which is true. And then he starts asking Brian, I want you to be honest with me, yada, yada, yada. And then he just out of nowhere tries to kiss Brian.
Right.
And at this point, I'm like, okay. So this is what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. He's homophobic because he's gay.
He's a self-loathing
Mm-hmm.
homosexual.
Yeah. Which is pretty sad.
It's sad, but it's very common.
Yeah.
And that, again, when that happened, I was like, oh, God damn. Here's another, how life can be shitty.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Cornucopia of shit.
Yeah. But I thought, awesome.
Yeah.
We're not done introducing the terrible shit that's going on out there.
Right.
With people. Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, we'll do that after.
Yeah. Brian pulls away from the attempted kiss and Tim just like freaks out. Basically, why do you fuck everyone except me? And Brian's like, well, I'm not gay.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim says that he isn't either. He's just in love with Brian.
Right.
And I'm like, what a mess.
Yeah.
So Brian is doing his best to be understanding. Right?
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm just not attracted to you.
Right.
So then Tim essentially does this whole, it's kind of a turnaround of when like Brian was manipulating Paul
right.
in that conversation. But this is, is toxic in an entirely different way.
Mm-hmm.
It's, he wants Brian to kiss him for a little bit, he says, because you owe this to me based on everything you've done to me.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
That's a lot of manipulative bullshit.
It is.
And having, been on the end of a lot of manipulative bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I want to save a lot of this till the end, but I think this, instead of trying to come back to this, I just want to say, I think this was a perfect example of that kind of manipulation.
Yeah.
About that, that kind of shit that is doled out to people every day by the tens of millions. You owe this to me.
Yeah.
I just, from a PSA standpoint, this is not to be funny, but folks, we're all about talking about writing and, creative and filmmaking, all that stuff. But here's the thing, especially right now, we've talked to people about having some mental issues during COVID, feeling, claustrophobic, depressed, all that stuff. You don't owe anybody anything.
Mm-mm.
I mean, this is like the one time to say this and just make it super succinct. Don't ever, especially in this Hollywood fucking style business, you owe nobody anything. If you wrote a script and somebody busted their ass to get it produced and all this and that, guess what? They did their fucking job. That's it.
Right.
That is it. You owe them nothing. In fact, they owe you the fucking money for your script.
Right.
Right? You don't owe anybody anything. Nothing anyone does for you in this world puts you in their pocket. Don't ever let people say that shit to you and then have you fall for it.
Yeah. I mean, just never buy anything from someone who's trying to sell fear.
Right? It's one of my favorite lines that comes from a film is, life is pain. And guess what that is? Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Life is pain. Anyone who tells you different is trying to sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But on the same note.
Yeah.
You don't. Nope.
If someone's trying to sell you fear or guilt, do not buy it.
Right.
So, Brian finally is like, fine, whatever. And asks Tim to pass him the bottle. He takes a huge drink. And then Tim edges over to kiss him. And Brian just breaks away after a moment and leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes on a bender.
Yeah.
And I really liked on his bender, there's a lot of very chaotic camera work. I mean, I know it wasn't actually chaotic. Obviously, it was very well planned out and everything, but it,
Well, chaotic movement.
Right.
Yes. We have a lot of visual movement.
Yeah.
To amplify.
Well, yeah, to amplify Brian's fucked up headspace at this moment in time. And then it's the next day in math class. Paul is absent. Brian is trying to break into lockers.
Yeah. He's just like, it's like that whole thing of we see people who, walk down parking lots, right?
Yeah.
Trying to open car doors, see which one will open
it's like
so they
that.
can get in there quick. Same thing with lockers.
So Jen comes up to talk to him and she's like, I had a nice time. She hopes things aren't too weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh.
And Brian seems really out of it. He's like weirdly cheerful, clearly drunk.
Right.
And she realizes something is wrong, is like, this isn't the time, and leaves.
Yeah. So then we're back to Mr. White, who's the man behind the desk, and his oranges.
Ugh.
And he's ripping into Brian. Brian, for once, has nothing to say. Mr. White lays some harsh shit on Brian. Makes it clear he just doesn't care about him. He's just doing his job, and it's up to Brian to care. Later, Brian is at Paul's. Paul answers the door. He's still all messed up he just got out of the hospital, but his eye's still fucked up, and he's got his arm in a sling. Brian asks if he has any homework to do. Paul pretty much shuts him out as politely as he can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Paul is back at home. He's in his room. Brian is back at home. Yeah. Bottles everywhere. His flask is smashed in.
Yeah, during his bender.
Yeah, he tore everything up. Lays back on his bed and closes his eyes. Then we're to morning. He's drinking orange juice again. He's been drinking orange juice a lot. And I never actually understood at that point. Was he like drinking screwdrivers or just orange juice?
Right.
I'll admit, I wasn't sure where we were on the OJ. But his sister is there, asks how he's making out, how the meetings are going. And it's been a while at this point, because then you realize, fuck, Brian's face is healed.
Right.
And
sister's like showing.
Right. So now I'm thinking, maybe it is straight orange juice. Maybe that's like the one step he's made. Don't know. So they talk a little about how talking helps her with her situation. She likes talking about it. She's not running from it. Puts her in perspective and focuses her, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She says, he's going to be an uncle, and that's a good thing. And I got to tell you, my adoration for the sister just like fully fanned here, because that's the one thing that you're supposed to do to help an addict through their process, is point out the good things.
Yeah.
The little things that are good things.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, if you get better, you get a promotion. That's a good thing. No.
Good things now.
Good things now. Good things that are going to happen whether or not you stay on the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you clear your addiction. You're going to be an uncle. End of story. But see, That's a good thing. Has
Right.
nothing to do with you. It's a good thing. And I thought that was beautifully put,
Yeah.
because that is the daisy sticker on the wall of hope, right? That every addict wants. This is a good thing, and it doesn't rely on me at all. I don't need to burden myself with this, and no one's giving me the excuse or chance to burden myself with this.
Right. This is going to be the same.
Yep. Whether I'm here or not.
Yeah.
This is how the world goes on.
Yeah. I could be a good uncle or a bad uncle, but in either case,
That's a separate thing.
I'm an uncle.
That's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Yep. You're an uncle. That's, so anyway, Brian doesn't agree that it's a good thing. He says he's a terrible example of a role model, and she tells him that she believes in him. Also good. And then the baby moves. She has Brian place his hand on her stomach, and he sets his drink down.
And he leaves it unfinished.
Yeah. So that made me wonder, okay, so is it a screwdriver? Shit. So we're at an AA meeting. A guy is finishing talking. Leader asks if anyone has anything they'd like to add before they go. Brian raises his hand, stands, and he basically just apologizes for being a dick in all the previous meetings.
Yeah.
Ends up saying, maybe I'm an alcoholic, and that's why I've been acting so shitty. Okay. It's not the golden moment, but it's a huge moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a step towards admission and acceptance of your role in what you're doing. So then we're back at Mrs. Shields' place. He's trying to talk to her, says he wants to talk things over. She says it's too late for that. He asks if she can tell Tim to give him a call. And while he's doing that, he leans over and pets the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we're at school, and he approaches Jennifer. He apologizes to her for how he has been acting lately. And I just thought, fuck her. She doesn't get an apology. I understand that's the healing process, but truly, there's got to be a limit, because I'm a firm believer. Never apologize to someone who doesn't deserve it.
Right. So
continue.
So, Brian is back at home, and he goes to his mom, who's just sitting watching TV, wanting to talk to her. And she's pretty jaded about it. She's like, what did you do? I have enough shit to worry about. What's your fucking problem now?
Yeah. Well, notably, this is our first real interaction with mom.
Yes.
And it's less than impressive.
Well, it is less than impressive. And there's a couple of things about it that I thought were kind of interesting. So, first of all, I'm like, wow, what a shitty mom. But as they kind of go back and forth a little bit, he's like, no, really, I just wanted to talk. How's your day?
Right.
She's kind of like surprised.
Yeah.
You get the sense that, whatever her deal is, she's kind of long since given up on the possibility of like having a meaningful relationship with Brian at the very least.
Yeah. It's almost like muscle memory.
Right.
Reaction, right? Pathways, the whole thing. This is how she interacts with her son.
Right.
Because it's the same. It's always the same.
And I mean, maybe a long time ago she tried. Right.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe she didn't. You don't know all that much about her. But you get the sense that at one point she did try and then she gave up.
Yeah.
Right. So she says that she's going to make another drink and asks if he wants one. And I'm like, what?
I know. Oh, God. Again.
And he's like, yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
It's morning now. And Brian is making breakfast for his sister. And it consists of like gross looking burned toast and rubbery looking eggs. And the bacon doesn't look fully cooked. But he's trying.
It was an earnest effort.
And she's nice about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, thank you. And she kind of picks at it a little bit. And he's drinking coffee instead of rum and Coke. So, they're just kind of talking. And it does seem like he's kind of like he's trying.
Right.
And you start to be like, okay, well, maybe he's going to be all right. And then she has a little bit of pain. Like she's full term now.
Right.
And he gets very concerned. when she has this pain, right? He like kind of goes over and helicopters over her. Are you okay? Yada, yada, yada. Like the picture of the concerned brother.
Yeah.
You know, a complete 180 from where he was at the beginning of this movie. And she's like, it's just gas. And it takes some persuading to get him to chill out, you know? So then we're at school outside.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian approaches Paul and wants to talk to him. And Paul gives him a little bit of shit for wanting to talk about feelings.
Right.
But it's in a joking way.
Yeah.
And then what?
That's just nothing. Go ahead.
The douchey brother guy comes up again. But a teacher breaks up the fight.
Yeah.
And then Brian goes inside and he sees Tim and tries to talk to him, but Tim just like can't get away fast enough.
Yeah.
So then we're in math class. Brian and Paul are talking about Brian's problems with getting Tim to talk to him. And Paul very wisely, Paul's like the weird sage almost.
Yeah.
Turns out to be.
Well, I would refer to it as the Irish saint.
That's fair.
This man has a fucking wagon train of issues, right? But he's the one who ultimately says something fucking on point.
Right. So Paul's like, very wisely says that just because Brian's on this weird journey doesn't mean everyone else is.
Right.
Which is completely fair. And then the teacher calls Paul out for talking again and invites him to come up to the board and solve the math problem. And Paul's like, yeah, sure. Because Paul has been working on math on his own.
Yes.
Right? He's been fixing his shit.
He goes up there and starts tackling it.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool. An emergency call comes for Brian. And it's his sister stuck at home needing to go to the hospital. So Brian's out in the hallway. He's freaking out because he can't drive.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jennifer comes up to him and gets out of him what's going on, and she offers to drive him. So as they're leaving the school, Jen's brother confronts them. And Brian's like, look, you can beat me up any day that you want, just not today. I don't have time for this right now.
Yeah.
But the brother is not letting up and starts hitting Brian with the bat.
Yeah.
Because he's got this bat with him.
Yep.
And Jen is like freaking out. And then Tim comes in to help at like the last minute, grabs the bat from the guy, just like takes him out.
Yeah.
And Brian thanks him. And then Tim turns and looks at Brian and just attacks him with the bat.
Negan style.
Yeah. Right across the head.
We see it from Brian's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
We see Tim as if we're Brian staring, and that bat just comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And it was chilling.
Yeah. Unexpected, to be sure.
Yeah.
But fuck.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say the actor who plays Tim, like the look in his eyes, like, fuck. It was a very good performance.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking scary.
Yeah. You absolutely believe that everything that's going on inside of him just exploded.
Yeah.
And he's completely broken at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop with just the head crack. He just keeps going.
Yeah. Negan style.
Yeah. As Jen is screaming and trying to stop him. And then.
Yeah. I mean, there's every hit, there's blood spattering on him, you know, and it's just fuck. And then finally, yeah, things go dark.
And we roll credits.
That was it.
Yeah, and both of us at the end. And I wrote, you said it out loud, and I wrote it in my notes.
Yeah.
Just the damn.
Damn.
So.
This film, I think everyone needs to see it.
Yeah.
Because it is dark and gritty. There's a couple light moments, you know, but it's not like a full-on dark comedy.
Right.
Right.
I would not call it a comedy.
Yeah, not every scene is a setup and a joke drop. You know what I mean? But it got emotions high. I mean, just now, and I know I
Yeah.
completely shut you down, but that's my thing out of all this. I recognize all the other things that he identified, homophobia, self-loathing, whatever you are,
Addiction.
right? There's people who loathe who they are, what they are, and they act out against it.
Mm-hmm.
Be it a sexuality thing, a morality thing, a religious thing, anything.
Yeah.
Right? It can be endless. There was a lot of things that really struck me emotionally on this. And, it was reaffirming to me. I think I'm pretty liberal with a lot of this stuff, like, okay, yeah, well, Brian is a fucking piece of shit at the beginning,
Yeah.
but my thing in life is everybody gets one.
Sure.
Right. You get one fucked up, bad, destructive journey in life. Hopefully it's just like a thing that you do quick, and then you can atone for it. This kind of thing is long and slowly, progressively horrible. A lot of people go through that, but you don't write those people off. I think everybody gets a chance to come through.
Yeah.
And at the 11th hour, we saw him starting to do that. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We identified
well, he
enablers.
Started focusing on him.
Right. Well, and seeing actually that there are things bigger than him.
Yeah.
His sister's having a baby and she needs help. That goes way beyond his bullshit.
Right.
Imagined or otherwise. Right. And he was trying to respond to that, which is the thing you want from someone who's recovering from an addiction. You want them to respond to external things that don't have to do with them.
Yeah.
Because that shows them engaging and accepting their role in a much bigger picture. The fucking merry-go-round goes round whether or not you buy the ticket. It's better if you buy the ticket, man. And while you're waiting in line, enjoy the other people enjoying themselves going around. Because whether you do or don't, they're gonna, But it also, I think it did a good job of pointing out just some of the dark shit that people do.
I think so. And I've seen a lot of movies just shy away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is definitely a difference between shying away from that grittiness and that realness of, these things that happen, versus like throwing it in people's faces unnecessarily.
Right.
And versus showing it in a real, honest way.
Yeah. I mean, this was, all together. Like I said, it's a tight group. It's like watching an Our Gang film and every one of them is socially dysfunctional in one of the pinnacle representations. It's like, not likely, but I mean, it's a movie. You get it. You got it. Yeah. But they packed in so much. Mm-hmm. Like the whole thing with Mrs. Shields.
Yeah.
Now at 16, here's my reaction. If I was 16, I know I would have watched this and I'd have been like, dude, man, what is wrong with you? You don't fucking do that to your friend. Right? That's just not it. You can, at 16, you want to go around and fuck anything you can. But you don't eye up your mom's friend. They make movies about it and comedies and stuff and all the, gross college humor bullshit, Oh, this is Langley.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's just, you don't even go there. But I would never have thought about what the fuck is wrong with that woman.
Right.
My mind at 16 wouldn't have jumped that far ahead. I'd be looking at, dude, you just don't do that, man. Just like your friend's sisters are off limits. Naturally, you don't even think about mom. What the hell? Right. But,
yeah.
In this, I'm thinking, I get where that set of eyes would see this, but as a full on adult, my first thought was, what the fuck is wrong with her that she's fucking her son's best friend?
Right.
So, but that's one of the types we're dealing with.
Yeah.
A lot of people in this film are narcissistic.
Almost everybody.
Most to the point of being, myopically so.
Yeah.
With blinders and everything. just so many fleshed out characters in that every interaction was something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and every scene was important. I mean, it was tight.
That is the other thing.
The flow of this.
Yeah, there wasn't a single thing that we saw that didn't have an impact or effect on the scene previous or coming or in that moment.
Right.
Right. Yeah. There was no wasted film. Not a lot of shit ended up on the floor after editing. Who knows what was cut out? But
yeah, and the dialogue was really good. It was very natural.
Mm-hmm.
It was very real. The performances were really good.
I did not pick out one person who was on screen giving us lines,
mm-hmm.
who you identify in some of the low budget films or the no budget films where, you know, it's his brother, sister, cousin, friend, or whatever. You know, they're kind of smiling as they're saying the lines, not delivering the lines.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, you know, they just can't not do it. Like some of those ones that we watched where, you know, all this stuff's happening and there's like 40 people looking at the camera, even though all the shit's aliens attacking from over here and all these people are looking at the camera smiling and not looking at what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know? None of that happening here. Really good performances. And I don't want to say nuanced. I'll just say spot on.
Well done.
Yeah. There was nuances to the characters
mm-hmm.
because everyone is like that. We all have a nuanced, you know, that's why you got to observe people, see the little things going on. But yeah, they brought it.
They did.
The pacing was good. Just the subject matter, I think, is the biggest thing here. I would imagine that if anyone went to someone in Hollywood and said, so I want to make a movie about every social ill, like let's say 12 of them. I want to pack all those into 12 different characters. I want to pack them on the screen and just have like a miserable fucking ride through the whole thing. I don't think this is going to sell as a log line.
It's going to be tough.
As a pitch idea, right?
That might be why it's in the log line, a comedic tragedy.
Maybe. But more importantly, doesn't matter. He did it. He wrote and directed this thing.
Yeah.
And kudos for that, because here's the thing. Hollywood doesn't have the balls.
Definitely not.
There's no courage in Hollywood. And they should, we said this a few times, they should be embarrassed by how vanilla they are with everything, right?
Yeah.
Hollywood thinks it's because we've seen it. We've seen movies that have the headlines, this is provocative and this and that. And it's like, no, it isn't. We've seen it. And we're like, this was fucking stupid. Not only was that the absolutely ridiculously moronic representation of what they're supposed to be provocative about, but the fact that they have a working relationship or paychecks to these fucking critics who are like lauding this thing. What a turd.
Yeah, super vanilla portrayals of social issues.
Yeah.
And then also putting out like trigger warnings for them.
Yeah. I know. Anyway, so Uncle Brian has won some awards at festivals.
Yes.
And this is back in 2010, so we're 11 years past it. And Nick, even when I wrote to him, he's like, wow, man, it's been a while since that one. So we haven't even like pushed it for years. It's nice to know people are still finding it. So, I hope we can talk to him about that as well. So we brought it out. This is an indie film. So, clearly in the B-movie realm,
mm-hmm.
in that whole half of Hollywood. Folks, you need to see it because $10,000, you look at it and you think, where did that go? It's no elaborate sets. It's a lot of different locations. Repeatedly.
It is a lot of different locations, and there's a lot of characters.
Right. And I'm guessing most of those locations, though, are friends and family.
Probably.
Okay. So if you need like 5 locations in a house, well, if you have 5 friends and family members who will let you shoot part of their house, great. Done. They Reach, Silas had someone who let him take over part of their house for months.
Yeah.
so they could keep going back and shooting. That's cool. And it cost you nothing or very little if you want to pay someone. Most of the money from the production, I'm guessing, went into the equipment and the production itself, meaning post-production, lighting, sound, everything in the front end, because it was really well done. I wasn't wanting for anything. That broken nose effect, goddamn.
It was really good.
The consistency of that was spot on. And then Paul, after he got fucked up, poor guy, that was not just, grab mom's Maybelline and let's see if we can scribble somebody's eye, I just thought, I thought it was, very courageous, very gritty and dark, most times uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable. This movie was extremely uncomfortable, but it was not, it was uncomfortable for a reason. Right?
Exactly.
With a purpose.
Yes. I appreciated that I felt uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the whole thing with Tim, I like the idea that, even when you put your eye on the prize, shit can happen in life. And as an audience, we're putting our eye on their prize.
Yeah.
Thinking, fuck, here it is. This is the moment I was talking about earlier. This is when, Gabriel shows up and says, hey, dumbass, here's what you need to do to get out of your own funk and become a human again. Right? Nope. This is the moment you die, dude. Didn't know. Sorry, didn't see it coming.
Well, and that's the thing, not everything has a happy ending. No. And in fact, a lot of stories about addiction do not have happy endings.
Right. Like it or not, the success rate of addicts in this country coming out of their addiction is frighteningly, demoralizingly low. Because if you count the first time when they're like, I'm sober, but then the relapse, and then the second rehab, and then the second relapse, third, fourth, fifth. Addiction is not as easy as they make it on film.
No.
And it's way harder. Think of all the films where they make it look like really hard. It's worse than that.
It's extremely hard.
Film will never, even this, as gritty as it was, didn't adequately. You just can't touch that level of human suffering.
Yeah.
Well,
and I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of stories about addicts and their journey ending unfortunately early due to something outside of them. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. And after the credits rolled, I had thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, I think it's right that this movie didn't have a happy ending.
Right.
Despite the fact that we grew to appreciate Brian. Right. Right. And start to root for him.
Recognizing his little moments.
Yeah. It felt, it was shocking, but it felt appropriate.
It did. A good movie will make you walk out of the movie theater, not just talk about it, right? With whoever you're with, or go home and like, oh man, I just saw this movie. That's also, a good movie. We'll have to do that. But I think the hallmark of a truly beautiful film is one that when you walk out of the theater or you get done watching it, you immediately start looking at the world.
Yeah.
And you look at the world with a slightly different lens because you're applying the things you saw that moved you in this movie, things you didn't understand, whatever it was. Or gives you an affirmation. Like, God damn, yeah, people are fucked up and people go through a lot of shit and you can't discount them. Guys drinking too much, who's doing drugs. Okay, well, there's things that need to happen. Maybe I should be more aware of it. If I'm going to be pissing on them, well, maybe I should understand it some more. Like I said, everybody gets one. And I hope watching this makes people think that, man, maybe I should either get involved or understand it more before I, piss on somebody who is going through something.
Yeah.
Now, Mrs. Shields had something going on. She needed help. She needed help, clearly. Tim, mounds of help.
Yeah.
Right. But it also makes you think societally, what are we imposing on people? How are we fucking with people? Right. We're at an age where, sexuality mostly isn't a thing. There are still pockets of the country where it's hugely a big thing.
Well, big pockets. I mean, there's a reason that there's a lot of, awareness campaigning and stuff going on.
Exactly. And, we're all working and hoping that will just be an unpleasant memory, like so many other things that we talk about from a historic perspective. I think this is, if I were to sum up my thing on this film, aside from it being gritty and like blunt and honest, I think from a writing perspective, it's an encouragement to people to not pander to the Hollywood formula once again, right? Clearly write either what you know, write what you perceive. Because some people, write about addicts who haven't been an addict, but they've been surrounded by them.
Right.
So they have just as much purchase in that realm, I think. If you live,
you're raised by an addict,
right? You can't speak to their inner workings, but you can make a pretty good guess because you see it unfold, right? So I think that qualifies. But do it, folks. Stick to it, and if it's ugly and dirty and slimy, so the fuck what?
Yeah.
All right, because I tell you what, like I said, this would not make it past a pitch session in most of Hollywood. But we saw the preview.
And I'm glad that it was made.
I'm glad Nick followed us.
Yeah.
I'm glad he saw a tweet. I'm glad he followed. I'm glad I checked up on him. I just want to say, as we close, as a caveat, we did look at his horror film, a more recent one.
Oh, yeah.
For it. Capture, Kill, Release.
Yes.
And so, okay, that's what we were actually going to do this on. Yeah. We started, and a few minutes in, couldn't take it. Well,
it was me. I was like, so about this whole found footage thing, as a general rule, neither of us really like found footage movies.
I hate it, but you have a more forgiving aspect.
Yeah.
On some of them. So I thought, well, if you can get through it, I'll pull through. But I got to say, when you opened your mouth, it was my decision had already been made. So I'm like, oh yeah, please bail on this. Please bail on this. So I when you said, is the whole movie like this? So let's fast forward a little bit and check. Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. If she changes her mind, we'll do it. If she changes her mind, we'll do it. So we watch, and you're like, like, well, if you don't want to watch, it's like, so we can do the other one. And you didn't argue. And then I stopped trying to convince you or be on your side. I'm like, fine, done.
Yeah.
And we'd written like 2 paragraphs of notes.
Yeah.
As we're going.
We were like 10 minutes in.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a wonderful film.
Oh yeah.
And
what I saw of it, it looked really good.
Well, the whole concept of it and the scenes, we don't like those in general. We don't like the camera movement because the whole thing is being recorded. It's not really found footage.
Yeah.
They get a video camera, so the whole movie is one of them filming the other, moving and swaying and stuff. I
get motion sickness.
You get motion sickness. I have a visceral hatred for that filmmaking. So sorry, Nick. Just don't like that style. But you know what? A lot of people do it.
And a lot of people like those.
And a lot of people like it.
And that's fine.
I just
not our thing.
Can't. Because it's too, I don't get motion sickness, but I just get annoyed.
Oh.
Well, because how many times do we watch something and we pick things out of what's going on? The subtleties of the background, the things that are going on. There's the whole I like to be able to appreciate that. That would be like going to the Louvre, right? And then being in like a tilt-a-whirl. It's like, oh, no. You don't get to walk through and stare at paintings. You get to sit on this and spin around in circles as you spin around a bigger circle. That's it, friend. That's how you view art. Well, I would not be an art enthusiast if that was how it was. Hard pass. So that's my thing.
And I'm glad that we switched over to watching Uncle Brian because we had seen the trailer for this and I was like, I don't know. it didn't, I don't know. The trailer itself didn't really resound with me, I guess.
See, it was my first choice.
Yeah. So that was why we had, gone with the other one, because it was like, oh, they're killing people. Ooh, super fun. I just gravitate towards horror and, that kind of thing more, I guess.
Well, yeah, Well, Uncle Brian also looked like a little slice of lifey.
And you really love those.
That's my wheelhouse.
I know.
That goes before horror. I'm sorry, horror fans. We love horror. We're all into that shit. Up, down, left, and right. But slice of life will bump horror out the door for me.
I know. You just... But for me, I'm like, gore?
Yeah. Screaming.
Murder? Oh,
Splatters.
yeah. Yeah. Love that stuff. But anyway, I'm glad we ended up watching this because I really, really loved this movie.
Yeah. It's another veritable masterclass of just stick to it and do your thing, folks. Watch the film. It's in the notes.
It's on Amazon Prime.
We picked it up on Amazon Prime. I'll see if I don't think I think it's on iTunes. It'll be in the show notes. I'll find out where it all lives.
And pop it in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, you should go check out our website.
It's at www.lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
You can find all kinds of stuff there. Past episodes, our blog, links to our social media pages, links to email us. Also a link to our Patreon page where, if you want to support this podcast, go check out our Patreon page.
Yeah. Links to all of the platforms you can subscribe to this on. If you are...
We're on all the biggies.
I saw it wiggling.
I didn't bump it, though. It was just wiggling.
I think you might have hit the table.
I didn't boot my mic once.
Well, it's because I just moved it over and did the thing for you.
I know, because you made it unboopable.
Well, I'm sure you'll get to it. See, you missed. Tried it on purpose.
I tried on purpose to boop it and I missed.
Well, yeah. The Bravo for the B-side studio is going to undergo some transformations.
Some renovations.
Some weeks to come. I'm still pondering, even though I just did it and talked, marvelously about how magnificent this layout was. But our basic needs driving that layout have changed.
Yes.
So we don't need this particular kind of layout. So I'm working on a different one. Which is not easy, folks. If old listeners, we're like a 10x6 room. Those are just joining. We're in a 10x6 room.
Yeah.
and it's a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, check out our social media links. Check out the people following us. Check out the people we follow. They are creatives. Some of them are just fans of the whole thing, and that's fine. But check these people out, see what's going on, expand your horizons, and find your tribe amongst these people.
And whatever platform you're listening to us on, if you could drop us a rating and review, that would be super cool of you.
Yeah. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Because, we need that stuff. We don't want to need it,
but
we have to need it right now. So please do that. In the meantime, we're going to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks. But you know what? Regardless of what goes on in the world, all boils down to your little bubble. While you're in your bubble, do your thing.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Reach out for help if you need it. Reach out for support to get you going. Ask questions. Make your creative connections. Reach out to us. We would be happy to, help you and throw you into the pool with other like-minded folks, and you can start working on your tribe, because we're still working on building it. I mean,
yeah,
it's a thing that never ends.
Yeah.
The only thing is create.
Yes. And before we hop off for the end of the podcast episode, I wanted to use, we got some exciting stuff coming up in the next couple of episodes.
We do.
Some interviews.
We have some awesome interviews coming. We have some in the works, and then we have some we want to do, but we just haven't gotten to start in that process yet. So, yeah. And you know what? If you want to talk to us about something you've done, or somebody who's done something, and you think they'd like to talk to us, or you want us to reach out to them or do whatever, email us, go to the website and find out, or find the email links, introduce us.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on. We find a lot of stuff. We have an endless list of shit we want to talk about. People like Nick follow us, and I'm like, oh, fuck,
Who's this?
Yeah, well, you're welcome, man. Thank you for following, and you made some shit. We're going to watch it. Mm-hmm. And we have others that are a little harder to get hold of that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We're not elitist. Things happen, man. We're trying, but anyway, yeah, let us know. Let's talk. Let's get going on some stuff. Let's talk about some shit. Let's get it out there for people.
Let's do it.
All right. So until next week, when we're going to have some sweet talking, I'm excited about this one.
I am really excited about it.
And yeah, I don't want to talk about it at all. I want it to be completely bone drop surprise. In fact, I think even the notes on it, when it does come time to release it, they're going to be very vague.
Ooh.
I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway, until next time, this is Danny.
And this is Jim.
We'll catch you next week.
All right. Bye.